la la la.
Hey guys, Martin here, back once again with another Patreon Duel Monsters Rewatch. And this one's for episode 4, so we're inching closer to actually being in the Duelist Kingdom tournament. In fact, it does begin with this episode. Very exciting stuff, I think you'll agree. I've always been quite partial to the Duelist Kingdom tournament. Not more than Battle City, just because I do think Battle City is way cooler. I think Battle City as a whole is kind of the standard, at least in my mind. I don't watch a lot of anime, but that is like the tournament. But I'm always going to be very partial to Duelist Kingdom because that's the first tournament I really sort of jumped on from the beginning, and I feel like it has more emotional investment for me because I'm worried about Yugi's grandpa, and also it's the first time we see these characters sort of go off on an adventure together, outside of the manga, which I hadn't read at the time. So this is very much sort of the nostalgia, speaking to me where I'm like, remember the first time this happened? Remember Duelist Kingdom? That's a classic. And outside of that, the tournament doesn't do anything super special, although Pegasus is certainly a standout aspect of it. And it's sort of all structured around him, so... But yeah, Duelist Kingdom, love it. So I'm very excited to get into it, so let's do it. The episode starts with a pretty gorgeous shot of seagulls flying beside the boat carrying Yugi and pals. Every time I see this opening shot, I'm like, this is from Yu-Gi-Oh? Things actually have fluid motion in this world? Oh, but I tease. The gang disembark and set foot on Duelist Kingdom, but not before Tristan expresses concerns that they might get spotted as trespassers. Fortunately for him and Taya, everybody's going to be too distracted by Yugi's protagonist hair to notice them even existing. Some amazing scared and out-of-breath acting from Sam Riegel as Tristan here.
I think I just had a heart attack.
I love hearing Tristan be like, it's really funny. Joey does a part celebration, part sneeze, and Yugi comments that he wouldn't have caught a cold if it wasn't for Weevil. The guy dove headfirst into the middle of the ocean for some ruined cards. He's really lucky that's all he's got, to be honest. You're lucky he's alive. I think that's true of every episode with Joey. You're lucky to be alive, mate. By this episode, we're deep into flashback-heavy territory, which becomes a really funny running motif in the show. Every, 5 minutes, we'll flash back to something that happened in a previous episode, or sometimes in the same episode. I won't lie, as a kid, I bet it would have been infuriating, especially since they would often change the dialogue for the purposes of making things easier to understand. But as an adult, I'm like, oh, thank you. Yes, my attention span didn't want to do any work here today. Not when I'm watching Yu-Gi-Oh, thank you. I like to switch my brain off when I'm watching people play card games. I don't know about you. Joey comments that he'd like to wipe that smirk off a Weevil's face, and Yugi thinks I would too. I love any time Yugi shows aggression. It's so funny to see this adorable character get mad at someone. Like little Scrappy-Doo over here. Oh, let me at him. I want to see Yami and Yugi as Scrappy-Doo and Scooby-Doo now. Ta-da-ta-ta-ta-ta. I think I did that joke in the show. Crap, it's a time is a circle. The hair guy shows up and tells all the children gathered to head to the nearby castle, and Yugi comments that it's got to belong to Pegasus. Yeah, I can't see him settling for anything less than a palace myself. On the way up the stairs, Taya spots Bakura lurking in the forest, but nobody else believes British people actually exist, so they ignore her. It's funny to imagine what Bakura was doing while he was stalking the main characters the first 24 hours of the tournament. Hunting elk, setting up a camp, disguising himself as an alligator. Now I'm just describing Metal Gear Solid 3 if it starred Bakura. I'm still in a dream, Bakura. At the castle, the other entrants in the tournament get excited over esteemed duelists such as Weevil Underwood and Mako Tsunami. Very esteemed, I think you'll agree. There's a joke I made in Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged at this part that I don't think makes much sense the way it's written. But basically the gag was, isn't Seto Kaiba supposed to be here? No, his name isn't stupid enough. And it was meant to be a comment on names like Weevil Underwood and Rex Raptor being goofy-ass puns. But some people took it to mean Japanese names are weird. Anyway, yeah, I wish I could rewrite that exchange. I don't think it conveys what I was going for, which is, these dub names are silly. Pegasus addresses the onlookers and explains that in order to progress in the tournament, you'll need to buy a battle pass and spend real money to get V-Bucks. You need a dueling glove and some star chips, and you'll gain more by wagering them in duels. I don't know how common this stuff is since I don't watch anime, but I like that it's not strictly a one-loss elimination tournament. It allows for characters to lose and recover from their defeat without it being catastrophic. Having said that, don't hold your breath for Yugi to lose any time in the next 20 episodes. Maybe 30, I don't know. If you earn 10 star chips, you get to face Pegasus in one final duel. The other prize is $3 million. It tells you a lot about Pegasus that he values a 30-minute card game with him to be worth about that much. There's a great moment where Yugi thinks, I can't get inside the castle by normal means, so I guess we'll just have to play card games in order to get in there. You know, as if he isn't positively drooling at the prospect of defeating dozens of unsuspecting tournament entrants. Pegasus teases that there are exciting new rules in his tournament, but he's not gonna say what they are. Brilliant, no notes. Pegasus is just camp enough to pull off
Everything goes according to plan.
one surprisingly lukewarm firework demonstration later, and the tournament has begun with both Joey and Yugi determined to get to the finals to help his sister and his grandpa respectively. I don't know about anyone else, but when I first watched this show, it kind of felt like it was gonna be either Serenity or Grandpa who got saved or helped, not both. So I was like, oh man, how are they going to resolve this? It can only be one or the other, surely. But then as we know later, they just give the prize money to Joey and Yugi gets to duel Pegasus. So I guess I just misunderstood the rules. Yugi and company spot Weevil waiting on the outskirts of the forest, and when Yugi challenges him, he runs off, leading them through a big cloud of moths. Then when they get through all of that, Weevil chuckles and says, you fell right into my trap. What, the trap of moving a little bit over there? Yeah, that trap was so expertly set. Yugi quickly transforms into Yami and drops some riz on Weevil. We get more incredible Yu-Gi-Oh animation as Weevil screeches the reveal of the new duel field, which requires both duelists to step onto elevated platforms to face one another. It's got to be the first time Yugi has ever gotten to feel taller than the rest of his friend group. Good for him. Yugi wagers his grandpa's deck in order to get Weevil to ante up all of his star chips, which is ballsy as heck, and I'd totally forgotten he even did this. Wow, that's great. What a challenge. That's exciting, actually. The holographic field technology boots up not unlike the loading screen of a Commodore 64, and the two duelists' monsters clash. Yami is confused because his monster is destroyed despite their attack matching, and Weevil explains that because of the field power bonus from the forest, his insect monsters have the advantage. Hey, it could be worse. You could be having to match Guardian star symbols in the PlayStation 1 video game Yu-Gi-Oh Forbidden Memories. That would be like torture. Joey accuses Weevil of cheating because he knew he'd have an unfair advantage. Yeah, that would be like using the ancient magics of a Millennium item to be good at games. Totally out of order. God, it's weird when they actually point out the cheating. Anyway, then Weevil's monster is also destroyed because it turns out Yami's mammoth got a field power bonus from the wasteland area. Nice of the holograms to wait for Weevil to finish monologuing about the new rules before actually blowing up. Yami activates Horn of the Unicorn, baby, on Horned Imp. One time I was at a wrestling pay-per-view and someone had a sign based on Horn of the Unicorn, the trading card, so everyone online assumed it could have been me holding it. It wasn't, but kudos to that guy. Yami sets a monster in defense mode and Weevil goes out of his way to explain what defense mode means, which just shows you how early on in the series we really are. Explain Depeche Mode while we're at it, Weevil, please. Weevil casually equips a giant insect with a laser cannon, and then once his defense monster is destroyed, Yami stops summoning monsters and keeps drawing for several turns, while Weevil just summons insect after insect. You see, back in Duelist Kingdom, you couldn't attack directly, which seems like it could be easily exploited, but none of these characters would ever cheat, ever. Not in their vocabulary. At all. But do you want to know what is in their vocabulary?
Bug Blitzkrieg!
Yeah, Bug Blitzkrieg. It's pretty wild. The supporting cast briefly activate their brain cells.
Just look at our Yugi. He's so confident up there.
I know. When he's dueling, it's like he becomes a totally different guy.
Yami says there's no way Weevil could resist the Dark Magician, and who can blame him? And so he announces he's setting Dark Magician in defense mode. Not a trap, I'm sure. Predictably, Weevil goes for the attack, triggering Yami's trap card he set on a previous turn. And I don't think there's ever been a better use of the red filter than this moment where Yami activates Mirror Force for the first time in the anime. No other card deserves to be given the imminent doom treatment quite like this. Weevil isn't quite so fazed, however, as before the episode ends, he reveals in a warning as harsh as it is shrill that his ultimate monster has yet to be revealed. And we get this upsetting image of Weevil reaching for like a gross, fleshy cocoon sack. I hate using the word sack in reference to anything Weevil adjacent, but I really don't have any other word for it. It's the sackiest. Lot of veins. Not a fan of the veins. It's veiny and gross, get it away from me. And that was the end of episode 4, called Into the Hornet's Nest. And there's a significant lack of hornets in the episode. I've got to say, I think one of Weevil's monsters was a bee, but otherwise, mostly moths. There was a lot more moth content than hornet content. So if you were hoping for hornets, I'm sorry. The dub title is a liar. I want to say thank you to all of my Patreon pledges, all of my patrons, every single one of you. As if you've been pledging for years or if you've been pledging for days, I want to say thank you to each of you. You guys really are a huge help. You keep me going. And I wouldn't be able to do this without you. I honestly wouldn't, so thank you. I'll be back with more rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters content in the future as we tackle episode 5, where I wonder if Yugi is going to lose the first duel of the tournament. I wonder if it's... Wouldn't that be amazing, actually? Wouldn't it be great if they just blew away everybody's expectations, completely subverted all of the tropes, and Yugi lost and had to go home? Be a very different show. Call it Joey-O. Because now Joey, it all rests on him. I would watch Joey-O. I don't know about you. Joey-O sounds like a good show. Anyway, I'll see you next time on Joey-O, Duelist Kingdom. Take care till then. Bye.